This is Brian.
My friend.
That's right.
Mom, tell me about Brian. Brian.
There you go. Good job.
I got my best friend. His name is Brian.
Brian was the one that helped put together this whole thing.
Welcome into Lawrence Free State High School, home of the 15th annual Rock Chalk Roundball Classic. Tonight, we raise money for local children and their families battling cancer, and former KU players and coaches provide our starting five.
My name is Brian Hanni. I'm the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, now in my 8th season at my alma mater. My dad baptized me in the culture of KU basketball very early in life, and so I knew I wanted to be a Jayhawk from an early age. Well, we're pretty proud of this place.
And Kansas will win! It's a banner! Your Jayhawks are national champions!
Obviously, from a basketball standpoint, it's the winningest program in the history of college basketball. So this is kind of cool. This is just outside of the KU locker room. This is a mural that has our 2022 national championship run. If Allen Fieldhouse is truly the cathedral of college basketball, every great church has stained glass. Mario's miracle. KU would go on to win it in overtime. And on top of that, you have the creator of the game was our first coach, Dr. James Naismith. So the tradition runs deep here.
Look, we're going to talk about the things going on in the court, but there's a lot of things going on outside and around this that make this event so special.
It's the highlight of the summer for a lot of these guys that are able to come back, and
It's going to be a great show.
So when I was 26, I was the sports director here in Lawrence, and I had a daily sports show, and I was loving it. But I did some soul searching because I was asking myself, am I really making a positive impact on this world, just as the guy that reads the morning sports scores on your drive to work? And that's when I read a book called Roaring Lambs by Bob Briner, and it changed my perspective on everything. He talks about how God elevates you to positions of influence. And the key is identifying what is your sphere of influence, what are your resources, and then bear fruit through that. And at the same time I was reading this book and it was changing my mindset on maybe he planted me in sportscasting for a reason. A local pastor approached me. The pastor said, you know, hey, I need you to do something for my son-in-law who was in the fight of his life battling cancer. I don't know if he's gonna make it or not, but these medical bills are mounting, and what can you do in your Rolodex of KU basketball names to make something happen? And I thought, what if we had a big celebration of KU basketball players from all eras and all parts of the country coming back? And yes, they would play a basketball game, but we could have all kinds of events around it. First game, though, was from very humble beginnings. You know, we sold $5 tickets and $1 hot dogs. We had maybe 16 to 18 players coming back because we didn't have the budget to fly guys in at that point. But as the game has evolved over the last 15 years, now we bring back routinely 50 and 60 former players. I think if Brandon White, the original beneficiary 15 years ago, could see what it is today, he would be happy that something that he was the inspiration for clearly has blessed so many kids. We ended up making it about kids because Brandon's fight was cancer, but his passion was working with children. And so pediatric cancer became our focus after that.
You know, our story was like actually a month before she was diagnosed with cancer, my husband had had a stroke and almost died. I'm not gonna lie, when I first got the news, it took me to my knees, and I did not handle it well.
You're getting ready to play a basketball game, you know, you're with your former teammates, with your friends, and enjoying that time, but then, you know, it kind of cuts to these kids and their videos, and oh man, it's just gut-wrenching, you know, to see what those families are battling. I thought I knew, but now that I do have a 4-year-old, man, it just, it sits with you a little different. The amount of stress that those families are going through, the kids, how they always put on a smile and show that they're fighting, being positive.
And to give them that special night, that moment, and to take away from the focus on fighting cancer for one night, that's been awesome.
You know, how cool is it to be introduced as they run down the middle of all the former athletes and giving every one of them a high five, and you are the most important person for that night. It makes them feel tremendous.
this is just a fun time that she gets to enjoy and that we get to enjoy, and we don't have to have that weight.
The game changer for us was, as the game has grown in popularity and star power, so too has it grown in the magnitude of the money we're raising.
To have the finances covered takes off a huge weight when there's not other weights you can carry at that point. Having to just deal with a child with cancer should be the only thing that you have to worry about at that point.
So I've learned a lot from these kids, their courageousness, their fearlessness. These kids leave us with a lot of life lessons, and man, it makes our problems on a day-to-day basis fade to black pretty quickly.
When we have challenges in life and your friends step up and become angels, it's beyond belief. So I have to say thank you to this gentleman right here for keeping the Roundball Classic what it is.
And so to have like all of this extra help at that time was really significant for our family. But we were definitely covered with a blanket of peace and hope in all of that. So it made all the difference.
Langford.
Get it to be Rush.
Dropping the nails it. The fallback three to win the game at the buzzer. Team Crimson 104, Blue 101 as they dogpile and enjoy this moment for peace.
Just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means more than a lot of people know. Thank you to everybody. It's, you know, some days you just don't know how you're going to get through it.
This family, this Roundball Classic family, it's a huge thing.
So many things had to come into motion to make this possible. So many connections had to be made, key mentors that came along at the right time, and it was all straight from heaven above that I got a chance to do this. Definitely, when you think back to the humble beginnings and how far it's come, this has been a very God-blessed event for sure. And it's been probably the most rewarding experience of my life, getting to work on this for the last 15 years.